NFL record for the worst completion percentage.
This is a game you need to
waiting.
win. This is a divisional matchup against a team you should beat. This is how you stack up wins.
Hello and welcome back to episode 16. We have our guest back again, Mr. Christian Vanover. If you guys remember him from a couple episodes back,
It's like episode 3, I think.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. He is in Georgia for the weekend and came in. We're filming another. It's a good time to have him back too, because when he first was here, he did a lot of college football stuff at the beginning of the year, and now we're more than halfway through. The playoffs, all the rankings stuff comes out. So yes, but let's get right into that. The second college football playoff ranking came out. And some changes happened. I know, obviously, Georgia lost. They predicted that Georgia would be the SEC champ in the first ranking. Now Georgia's the first one out.
That's a pretty big shift.
So, I mean, out of these teams, what do you think the biggest surprises are? I know the top 4 really didn't change too much besides Georgia.
I think the fact that Notre Dame is still in it is ridiculous. I know they have 4 teams with an unranked loss ahead of Georgia, and it's fine that you have Ole Miss and Bama ahead of them, of course, because they beat Georgia. But Notre Dame is probably my biggest issue. I don't understand how you can still be in the playoffs when you haven't had really a hard schedule at all, and you have a unranked loss at home to a team that you should never lose to. Yeah. So that's my biggest issue. But what about you, Vanny?
My biggest thing is, I guess, shocking is that Indiana's up where they're at.
They've been shocking all year,
I don't think
honestly.
anybody saw Indiana having the record that they do, being able to play the way that they do. But I did see something with Indiana. A lot of their wins that they have are against teams with non-winning records.
Oh, really?
So they don't have too many wins.
That's kind of what I was saying a
against
couple
teams,
weeks ago when we were talking about that.
with winning records. So it'll be interesting to see if they hold on. It'll be interesting to see what they do when they play Ohio State coming up. So
I will
is that
say
this week?
no, I don't believe.
I will say this week though, the Tennessee Georgia game.
That's huge. That's Georgia's season.
That's a play-in game. I think whoever wins that game solidifies their spot in the playoffs.
I would say more so for Georgia than Tennessee, because Tennessee still has a couple more quality wins. I don't know who they have remaining on their schedule, but I would say a Tennessee loss to Georgia does less for them than it would if Georgia lost to Tennessee. I think if Georgia loses to Tennessee, there's no discussion.
Yeah.
They're out of the playoffs.
I agree.
Right, completely.
But I think if you beat them this week,
Yep.
as long as it's not like you won at the buzzer, I think you're guaranteed to get a spot in as long as you take care of the rest of your games.
Well, if Georgia wins, where does that put them? Are they still making the SEC championship game?
Yeah, that's
There's like a
biggest question
It could be
right
a
now.
6-way tie.
Really?
For
Wow.
the SEC.
Has that ever happened?
It's like crazy. How there's a bunch of different scenarios on who could actually go to Atlanta to play in that.
Who's the most likely matchup right now?
The most likely
Probably
is
Texas.
Texas. And, I think LSU's still up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Even
Just
after
because
losing to
of who they
Bama?
is.
Yeah, just because of the way the rankings are. But there's like a million different ways it could go about it.
See, we talked about it last week. This has been the most
We've been talking about
exciting-
it for the whole season.
College
Yeah,
football
this
has
is
not
exciting.
been
It's very
in general.
exciting.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. I think this is so good for college football. I think as long as they can figure out the not salary cap, but the NIL stuff and kind of regulate that a little bit more, I think college is heading towards.
Well, and we've
an
seen
amazing
that they
place.
have started to kind of change some of these rules very subtly, that they, I think, are starting to transition.
Starting to get the hang of it.
to kind of contract-based regulation type things.
Mm-hmm.
So to go on to our next topic, this was also something that we talked about last time Vanny was here. We had some different opinions.
It's crazy to think, looking back on it, that this was such like a hot take.
It
but
really
now
was.
it's
Now
like-
it's not. Shadur Sanders or Carson Beck? Who would you rather have right now? I think the clear, obvious answer with how they're playing, I don't want to hear he's not playing against SEC teams. Yes, I understand that conference right now is insane. But Sanders is playing really, really good right now, to where they win out, they go to their conference championship, they win the conference championship, and they're in.
Yep, and they're in. Completely.
It's very realistic for them. I don't know if they have too many tough games on their schedule outside of that conference championship in a few weeks, which that would be a team I'd like to see in the playoffs, just for, obviously sheer publicity, but I think they could compete with at least some of the teams, maybe not the top, but I definitely think they could give some of these playoff teams a game for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
They've got an angry Utah team this week coming up based off of what happened to Utah, but it's in Boulder, and then they finish out with Kansas and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, I think they'll be fine against them. Kansas could give them. I mean, Kansas too. I mean, so 3 very simplistic games for them to win out the rest of the year.
They're what, like 7-2 right now, 8-2.
They're 7-2.
That's crazy.
And I think it too. It would be. This is kind of. I know everyone kind of gave Deion Sanders a bunch of crap last year for not winning games, and like you talked this big game, you didn't back it up. He's now 1 year under really recruiting that school, getting kids to come in.
Yep.
And now he's, a couple games away from going to a conference championship. So I like it. And I like Travis Hunter. Yeah. I think he's a great story. He's going to be a great NFL talent.
Might be the first overall pick.
I would
this draft
depending
looks,
on
really,
who ends up picking, yeah.
A lot of the teams at the top don't necessarily need a quarterback. You got Tennessee, New York, but Jacksonville just paid a quarterback. They're not taking one.
Yep.
Las Vegas could potentially they need a quarterback. There's a lot of teams really at the top. It's just this could be a very strange draft, and
with Sanders coming out and literally saying, I'm gonna basically pick the team that Travis Hunter goes to and my son goes to, and you're not going to have anything to say about it because that's how it's going to be.
I will say more on Deion as like a coach and recruiting in general. People gave him a ton of, I guess just they were talking down on him a little bit when he had that press conference talking about how he plans to recruit. And he doesn't want red shirts on his team. If you make the team, you're going to play. And it's kind of more so as like a pro standpoint instead of these college teams who are continuing to stack up red shirts and kids that they expect to play at some point, but they'll just sit. And he had a great point that, in today's landscape of college football, they'll just transfer if they don't play.
100%.
So there's really no point in having those even really freshman guys. Like he's strictly going to build the best football team possible.
And I've also heard too that it is extremely hurting the high school recruiting process.
I bet.
Because these teams would rather take a guy who's been in college for a couple years than try to bank on a freshman coming out of high school.
Do you think eventually we start to see, how like the NBA has the G League or that hockey has like a minor leagues like that's separate from college, same with baseball? Do you think it's heading towards a point where we start to see that for football?
You can kind of say that the schools we went to and played, they had like JV teams. I know
they have like a JV thing, but I think where you'd probably see the most improvement in competitiveness would be the JUCO level.
Yeah.
Because the JUCO level, ultimately you could go there, play your 2 years, and then be able to transfer into the portal again, and you got a guy that's played 2 years of collegiate level football.
So maybe we start to see a lot more high school football being fed into JUCO. It's kind of like
it could be. It could be for sure.
Like basically just another 2 years of high school before you end up going to a Georgia or Ohio State or something like that.
And you have the option to maybe get drafted straight from there if you're good enough. But it's obviously it's different with NFL because really you can't tell how good you are unless you're going up against the best of the best. It's kind of like baseball, you find them everywhere. Same with basketball a little bit, but football, it's kind of it's a little bit different.
Well, basketball, getting into basketball, college
Congrats
basketball
on the win. I know you're repping your
Kentucky,
team.
It was impressive, and with their new coach, they've got a bunch of transfers. Duke is young, but I watched a little bit of the last of that the Kentucky game towards the end. I think. I mean, Duke's going to be good, like they always are. I think Kentucky, though, I can speak for you, it was a huge question mark with new coach, kind of going against the grain of what they've kind of done in the past when it comes to who they're playing and who they bring in to play for them. Right. So what would be your, take on, I'm sure you're excited, obviously, because you won. Sure. But how do you think this season will unfold as you get more games under your belt?
Right. So last year, after March Madness got over, and everything started and Cal was leaving and we were in the process of hiring a new coach, I was like crying whenever Mark Pope was the first name announced. Then he starts to get the fan base back. I was really upset. I was really, really, really sad. And so now seeing, everything he did recruiting wise in the offseason and getting guys out of the portal, we didn't know what to expect. We knew we'd be decent. because he put a decent team on the floor last year at BYU. Like, they went into Kansas, they won. So we knew that it would be all right, but we didn't know what it would look like. And so then that Duke game starts, and I'm like, whoa, like the athleticism level is just a completely different thing. Like, I was like, Duke's going to run us out of the gym when the game first started. And they just kept playing. Like, they kept playing. They didn't get down. Our best player on the team had 1 point.
Yeah.
And we still were able to come out and win the game. And yeah, I mean, it's just super exciting. I mean, obviously, Cooper Flagg gave us a couple gifts coming down the stretch, but it is really exciting, and I think they're a top 10 team for sure. And I think that's you're getting a 1, 2, or a 3 seed, hopefully.
So with that, are there any, or it might be a little too early, but are there any teams that would say, hey, that team's going to be really good, that team could make a run if they do what they're supposed to do? Is there any teams that stick out to you guys that...
I would say the one is UConn going for the three-peat, which I don't know if that's ever been done in college basketball. 3 straight March Madness tournament wins, or championship wins, that would be massive. And apparently they've got the team to do it. I would say Duke is always up there as long as, I think they've been out of it in years past, but I think they're finally back to the top. Kansas, obviously. Houston normally has a good team.
Houston's been playing
Alabama, apparently,
Alabama's
is very highly ranked.
They're number 2. They're really solid. They return a lot of people. They play a lot of Mark Pope's style. So they're shooting a lot of threes each game. They're playing solid defense, everything else. So that'll be interesting to see what they.
March Madness is always.
Yeah,
I love watching. It's always fun to watch.
And then you technically have Gonzaga up there right now towards the top 2.
Yeah, that's.
But come March, they'll be out of it. So
you think
they always are? They always finish with a 1 or 2, and everyone picks them, and they end up losing. So
Gonzaga.
Speaking of big sporting events,
event of the week,
everyone's
tuning in,
and
can't wait for the Jake Paul fight.
If you, everyone owns Netflix. Jake Paul. Mike Tyson. However old Jake Paul is against 60-year-old Mike Tyson. What I will say that was pretty funny that I saw what Mike Tyson said is he said Jake Paul is a manufactured killer. I'm a born killer.
A natural born killer.
So that kind of was like, could you imagine if he was sitting in front of you and said that? Like, I'd be terrified for my life. But this is something that you can't not show up
this is
or
like
not
reality
watch.
TV
It really is. And even I've been seeing clips of all the press conferences and Jake Paul betting millions of dollars on himself and all this stuff. So he's a marketer. The Paul brothers, if there's one thing that they can do,
make money.
They make money, and they're very good at marketing themselves. But yeah, I don't know how this is just basically on TV for free. I'm going to watch it 100%.
That Jake Paul gets knocked out by a 60-year-old man.
You and probably a lot of other people that are going to be watching it for that.
I have no faith that it ends up happening just because of how these Paul fights have gone in the past. But I hope it happens. But if he doesn't, if he ends up beating a 60-year-old man, don't be surprised. Even if it is, Mike Tyson, it just, I don't know, man. I'll like I said, I'll tune into it. But
I'm gonna watch 100%.
I think the fun money is on Mike Tyson, but the smart money is on the younger kid.
Yeah,
I really want Tyson to win.
And I would say too, he's probably going into it going, okay, I got to try and knock him out in the first 2 rounds, or else I'm just going to be out of gas.
I'm just done.
Yeah. And that's what Jake Paul is going in. I just got to last through the first couple rounds and then just wear him down.
They're wearing heavier gloves though.
They are.
If you guys saw that. I think it's like 14-ounce gloves is what I heard. So I don't know much about it.
Yeah, but I know the lighter, the easier it is to knock someone out because less padding.
Quicker hands, everything else. Yeah.
So we will see.
Less padding.
But Week 10 NFL recap, there were a lot of great games, a lot of big games that kind of
the Bengals almost pulled it off.
Will solidify, I think, some of these teams' seasons, like the Bengals you just mentioned. This was I hate using the word must win, but the Bengals needed this game.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Ravens. Definitely. They choked it away the first time they played, losing this game with the Steelers now beating the Commanders, the Steelers having the record they have, the Ravens having the record they have. This has now made it extremely, extremely hard for the Bengals to get into the playoffs. I saw this
stat. As of their last game that they played, the Bengals have the passing yards leader, the receiving yards leader, and the sack leader. All on the same team, and they're 4-6.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That's I don't know.
That's NFL football for you. of how, I agree. But Derrick Henry, Lamar, they played perfect again.
They complement each other so well.
They really do. And I know we've said it in the past, but the joke of putting someone like Derrick Henry on that Ravens team.
This is what happens.
This is what happens.
This is what you get.
So it's awesome to see that for them. I hope they can do this in the playoffs because it's great. You're doing it in the regular season. You're beating all these teams.
Yep.
Do it in the freaking postseason. Show you can do it. Show you can take that next step. So that's what I'm looking for out of the Ravens. But the Bengals, it again, like I said, it's sad because I was very high on them at the beginning of the year.
Most people
and like
were.
You said, if you told me that they were going to have the passing
all three
leader,
of those stat leaders,
and I would have been like, yeah, sweet, they're going to be at least.
They might be undefeated.
Yeah, and so that just shows how competitive the NFL truly is and how
crazy.
it can come down to a few plays in games that cause you to
question there with a few plays. A lot of people in the city of Cincinnati I saw online, the 2-point call at the end was very controversial. So I'm going to ask you guys, what you scored a touchdown.
I agree with going for
ties
two.
it. You can go for 2 and get the win. What are you doing?
I'm going to say the same thing of when we saw Tampa Bay with the Chiefs a
You
couple
go
weeks
for the
ago.
win, especially when you
Tampa Bay should have gone for
Yeah.
2. They kicked the field goal or the extra point,
and then they
lost to. You gave the ball to
Right.
Mahomes, so you have to, in a way, assume
Yeah.
that they're going to get the ball and march down the field and score a touchdown. So, in my opinion, I think if I was the Bengals, I would have gone for 2 because there's no
call,
way I'm giving the ball to Lamar
Right.
and Derrick Henry in
And he had
overtime.
scored 4 straight times coming out of the second half.
So they did the right thing. Now to say that there wasn't a penalty on that 2-point conversion,
and they targeted
whole-
their
Right.
backup tight end.
that too. I don't care.
Why, with the game on the line, you've got a guy who has 3 touchdowns, 260 yards, and 11 catches.
Sneak attack.
And he's not even used as a decoy on that. But he doesn't even get looked at. That's what I have a problem
I
with.
texted in the
That's
group chat and I said, I don't
stupid.
care if you're triple coverage, you are calling the absolute best play you can to your best player.
That was
And you're
not
living with it.
That was not
and not passing to your backup tight end, not about it.
not a good look.
Panthers, Giants, feel bad for Germans. They had to sit through
Or
this.
Germany.
But yeah, I mean, it was
It got entertaining at the end.
a little bit at the end. I think Bryce Young, it was kind of cool to see him finally have some success after sitting
First
a couple
win
weeks.
streak of his career, I found out.
Yeah.
First one.
So
crazy. Congrats.
this game was really boring, though. I still got up and watched it. I'm sure everyone else did because
I fell asleep for a little bit of the first half. Can't lie, but I woke up for the end of it. I saw the Giants not being able to get out of their own way. Like the
I
entire
will say
fourth
though
quarter.
that their running back Tracy, I know you
He
picked
looks
him in your bet of the
good.
week.
He looks
He
good.
fumbled the ball in overtime, which ultimately led to their loss, but he played very good. That was a good pick for them.
Yep.
So
He's solid.
next one though, 49ers Buccaneers. This I think was a lot closer than people thought because of all the injuries that the Buccaneers had.
I'll just say it, dude. I think the Bucks clearly would be one of the best teams in the NFC if they weren't so injured.
Yeah.
Like they, week in, week out, regardless of who they're playing and how many guys are injured, are giving people their best performance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every
Well, their
time.
O-line is good. I think they have 2 really good running backs in White and Bucky Irving.
Yep.
And their receivers were some of
got
the best in the
nobodies right
league,
now. They
and
got-
now
Now
you have
they're-
nobodies.
yep,
You got Sterling Shepard, McMillan was out. I think I can't even name other guys.
Yeah, you're
Like
throwing
Trey
to
Palmer,
Shepard.
I think is still there.
Yeah, you're throwing to Shepard and Otten, and
Yeah,
then your 2
Otten.
running backs out of the backfield,
Yeah, that's it.
basically. And,
And
have
Baker's still having a great year.
I agree.
I'm
I
proud
agree.
of that guy.
I am too. You know, he's
I'm proud of
a
that
lot of adversity coming out and then going from team to team.
This is what we
having
thought
that
Johnny
comeback.
Manziel was going to be.
Yeah, he beat the Cleveland curse. The
He
Cleveland
did.
quarterback curse.
I would say.
Like I
Just
think
not
you beat
in
it.
Cleveland.
Just not in Cleveland.
yeah.
But
next
McCaffrey
one.
too. Hold on.
Oh,
We're
we can
talking
go
about
to McCaffrey. Yeah,
returned.
McCaffrey coming back.
He didn't skip a beat.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, I
It's
traded
kind
him.
of crazy.
Did you really?
I traded him to my brother in another league, and
What'd you get back?
Yeah.
for
What'd
him?
you get for him?
I got Godwin,
Oh,
and I got Brian Robinson.
that's
And they're
great.
both
Yeah.
they've both been hurt, battling
Yeah.
the injury bug. Man, it's
Oh,
just
boy.
been tough.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Broncos Chiefs next one. This
Sucks.
I wasn't able to watch the first half of the 1:00 games. I had a cornhole tournament.
Yeah.
We ended up losing. Just throw it out there. So I was watching this on my phone on ESPN, and I was like, "Hey, Chiefs are about to lose, kicking a game-winning field goal, 3 seconds left," and I was like, "Let's go! Like they're not going to be undefeated. It's still really good."
blocked.
I literally, it like ended and the score stayed the same. And I was like, there's no way that just happened. There's no way they missed a 23-yard field goal. And this is how they continue to be undefeated. So I went to Twitter, got freaking blocked. And I was like, I was like, what are we doing?
This is a coaching masterclass. Again, just shows that the Chiefs are one step ahead of everyone they play. I don't know if y'all saw on Twitter the videos of the Broncos' left side of the field goal block line in general all season. That guy that ended up allowing the kick to be blocked has been getting bullied the entire season. It's their weakest part of their field goal block. And I saw film of like multiple times where it was almost blocked in other games that they had played.
And they exploited
And the Chiefs, first half of the game, they didn't attack him at all. They rushed from the other side. And then later in the game, like the third quarter, they had another kick. And they started pressuring him a little bit more. And then on that final kick, they sent the house right at that guy, and everyone got past him. Everybody. It was like 2 or 3 guys that were free. Yeah. And then, blocked. It's stuff like that. It's just the attention to detail, man. It's like there's a reason they are as good as they are. It sucks.
I agree. And
it sucks that I'm not a fan of them.
Even with, I know, right? Even with the Chiefs playing, I would say, down to their standards on offense and Mahomes' standards. I mean,
Pacheco just got activated. I think they're getting help on defense. Hollywood's going to be back for the playoffs.
It's not. It's if like we've kind of said it. The Bills or who do they play? The Texans. Those are the last, and the Steelers.
Those are 3 teams.
Those are 3 teams, and if they somehow get through those 3 teams,
undefeated,
there is a very good chance if they get the 1 seed going into the playoffs with Mahomes,
undefeated. They're
going undefeated, 3-time Super Bowl champions. Yep. Travis Kelce rides off in the sunset with Taylor Swift, and puts a ring on her finger, and calls it a career. I would.
I would. I'd be gone.
I'd be out of there.
You would never hear from me again.
Undefeated 3-peat. I'm dating Taylor Swift. I'm out of there. I'm calling it a career.
I mean, I'm willingly putting my body on the line, and I've already done pretty much everything you can do on a football field, minus an MVP.
I'm done.
See you later.
Next one, though. This one was, I think, the game of the week for this game lived up. Steelers Commanders. Steelers pull it out. Russell Wilson is showing he is still a very good quarterback. Mm-hmm. Also, I said this to you. Mike Tomlin, he got so much crap for benching Justin Fields when Justin Fields had a winning record.
Decision.
It shows how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is to do that.
He's the second best coach in the league, in my opinion.
I mean, it's crazy, and it goes to why, like I said, why he's had no losing seasons, why he's been able to just now.
There's a reason.
Now you could say, they get into the playoffs the past couple years and then get completely blown out because they're not very good.
The fact that they even made the playoffs with those teams is beyond
it shows. It shows to the coaching, but this, to me, really, the quarterback change of why are you. I mean, what was Justin Fields' record? It was a winning record.
4-2.
That's, I mean, to switch quarterbacks in that and be confident with that, and now going 3-0 with Wilson, it shows what type of coach that was. But the Steelers played very good. Their defense is very good. Mike Williams had a very clutch touchdown at the end that they just traded for.
I took a shot at Rodgers after on Instagram.
I did see that.
Hashtag Redline.
I did see that. So, and then, the Commanders, I
say they win that game, honestly, if Lattimore plays, and who knows how that game ends if they don't jump off sides at the end of the game. I'm sure you saw that.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that they didn't get the ball back.
Sides.
And he's been playing great. That was the defensive tackle that I mentioned a few weeks ago from Illinois. But, geez, the Commanders, we get a chance to see them tonight.
Yeah.
This
is going to be a great game tonight. We'll talk about it when we get there,
really
but
exciting.
The game tonight against the Eagles, I mean, this is what the division is going to come down to now with Dallas and the Giants being what they are. Yep. So whoever takes these 2 games, I think both these teams will end up in the playoffs because they're that good.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, whoever wins these 2 games coming up against them, it could be very interesting how the playoffs end up working out for them. Next one though, Falcons Saints. This was a trap game for the Falcons. With a brand new head coach for the Saints, this happens every time. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints get blown out this week. But the just new energy of a new coach, they're ready to go. They're ready to go. Ready to go for this new guy to try and prove that he deserves this title. And that's what happened. Now, I will say, though, the Falcons kicking game, I mean, Koo missing 3 field goals and they lose the game by 3 points. You can't do that in the NFL. You were in a dome. It's not like you were in somewhere outside
Chicago.
or Green Bay, Chicago, where the wind was 20, 30 miles an hour. You're in a dome. There's no excuse to be missing those
He's been
type of
missing
field goals.
a couple of big kicks this season
has.
too. Like a couple, and he's on a new contract. I don't know if they signed him this year, but recently he got signed to a contract extension.
Yeah.
And it's very concerning going forward for the Falcons because you lose games like this when pretty much everything is stacked in your favor. How are you going to look in the playoffs when you're playing a much better team with actual, just something on the line? It doesn't look good.
Well, and also to go on top of the Falcons, because we live in Atlanta, so I listen to the sports talk radios for Atlanta. Every single time they talk about the Falcons, they bring up the sack total. They have 9 sacks on the year. And you know what I heard the other day, them talking about? That rookie that no one thought was going to be good that got drafted to the Rams, who now has over 40 quarterback pressures on the year. Jared Verse.
Yeah.
I heard them talking about, well, we should.
But according to Falcons fans, they don't need him.
Don't need it. According to the Penix is no. There was no one available. There was okay. Keep on telling yourself that because in the playoffs, when you're complaining about not getting sacks
or even pressures,
like your secondary is very good. Your linebackers are a little mediocre, but if you had a good D line, it makes up for everything, and we've seen that with some of these teams.
Rusher is the second most important position on the team.
Oh, 100%.
Completely agree.
Your pass rush it helps your secondary play better. It helps everyone on the defense play better.
Well, less time you have to cover
up your mistakes.
Yes, less time you have to worry about penalties down the field.
Yep.
So but 9. I mean, I think there's like 5 NFL players right now who have more sacks just themselves than the Falcons do as a team.
I believe it.
And we're in week 11 now. We're going into week 11. So that is going to be
Aiden Hutchinson is almost at their sack total, and he hasn't played. 4 or 5 weeks.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
So all the Falcons fans who are still saying no, there were people available. You just didn't do a good enough job at your draft process of. You needed a guy to help you win now with the money you spent on Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
You didn't do that. You are now seeing the result of that decision.
Yes, I think if you knew you were going to take Penix, then don't sign Kirk Cousins to a giant deal.
Right.
And don't build your roster to win now.
Yep.
And then have a glaring issue that's going to keep you from winning now.
Yep.
Into the playoffs. That makes no sense.
Exactly. But what do we know? We don't know anything. Next one though, Lions. Oh wait, no. Jets, Cardinals.
Their season's done.
The Jets
They're done.
suck.
They're so done.
And you know what's awesome is that video and that picture of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams over his shoulder, aged like fine wine.
That was so
it was beautiful of how they are playing now.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Jets season's over. The Cardinals though. The Cardinals are playing really well.
Team.
They run the ball very good. Their defense is, I think, good enough. Buda Baker's flying all over the field.
I saw this, their last 3 home games, they haven't allowed a single touchdown. That hasn't happened since the 20s.
Yeah.
That's really
And
impressive.
you know I saw this too. Kyler Murray, you know how the joke is when the
Call
new
of Duty?
Call of Duty
I know already
comes
where you're
out,
going with this.
and he's what,
He hasn't
3-0 since the new Call of Duty
You know what
came
that
out?
means? You know what that means? That means Call of Duty is back. That's Call of Duty is back.
So that was pretty funny because everyone was like, "Oh well, they're gonna suck even more because Call of Duty's coming out."
This is a good Call of Duty. This is a good Cardinals team.
So that was pretty funny. But yeah, the Kyler Murray's playing good. I think McBride is one
He's solid.
He's very good.
Really
if you
solid.
have him in fantasy, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But he is playing, I think, better than. I think he's playing better than Kelsey. I think he's playing better than the guy on the Lions. I can't remember his name right now. Laporta.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he's playing good. James Conner, for how old he is, he's running the
He's
ball
like almost
great.
30, I think. Yeah.
I started McBride in the flex spot last week.
Really?
In our league, in
Yeah.
our 75 league. I had 2 tight ends
Yeah.
because I had him, and he's playing better than majority.
yeah.
Most receivers for me.
Yeah,
So,
very solid, very solid. So next one, we kind of mentioned the Lions. Lions Texans.
are unbeatable.
Lions
I've seen
again
enough.
have shown that they can win
Anything.
in any type of. Your quarterback throws 5 interceptions,
and you win.
you do not win that game.
This makes
Like-
me look back to the speech that Dan Campbell had when he got hired, and he's addressing his team for the first time, and he's talking about how we're just going to swim, we're going to tread water for as long as it takes to drag the other team out into the deep end and drown them. And this was like the blueprint for what he meant by that.
Yeah.
That like this game
That was it for sure.
embolizes exactly what he meant. That's crazy.
That
Your
Dan
quarterback
Campbell,
throws.
I mean, that is unheard of.
Yeah.
You throw 5 picks and
win.
You don't
get
win
to go
those
away.
games, and
My
the fact that
God.
they did, I mean, it just again proves to how good of a team that they have that they can win some of these games
that's
the way
such
they
a
are.
Detroit thing to do.
It really is.
Like,
crazy.
that's just like
It makes
grinding
sense.
out blue collar.
Yeah,
Fight it
and,
out.
Ford.
and he's given all like
Built
he's
tough.
built tough.
yeah. So, but I'm a huge Lions fan. Though.
Yeah,
I want to see them.
I want to
go.
see
I
the
don't think
Lions
there's
make it out of the
anyone-
NFC for sure.
Maybe besides like Packers fans, I don't think anyone is upset that the Lions are finally good. Like I love
about
watching
you?
them. Oh no, I'm so happy for him. So the way I look at our division, I always have, is that I hate the Packers and Vikings, and then the Lions have just been there. And I think the Lions have always been like the same towards us. It's always Packers, Vikings,
And the Bears are just there.
They're just kind of there. So we just kind of coexist at the bottom of the division. But now it's our time to rise up. Well, at least Detroit, they're doing it for us. We live vicariously through Detroit fans right now. But our time is coming soon. But yes, no, I'm really happy for Detroit, and I love Dan Campbell. He's one of my favorite coaches.
You know, he got a lot of crap for his first couple of interviews, biting kneecaps and all this stuff. But it's like
This is what happens when you bite someone's kneecaps off. Though. This is what you need in a coach. This is
agree.
someone that the Bears would never hire. He's too much of an alpha male. To
well,
be in
I
our
will say
building.
though, their play callers on defense and offense are top tier.
And they're both gone.
They're
after
both
this season.
probably
you
gonna
gotta
be
win
gone.
a Super
You gotta
Bowl this
win.
year.
Yeah.
You gotta
'Cause
win.
They're not coming back.
Now, I will say though, their offensive coordinator
Crazy.
did after last year. He was like, "No, I want to stay. I have unfinished business." I can maybe see him doing that again this year if they fall
lose.
short.
That's
Maybe.
really cool to see in the NFL because
It is. You
so
don't
many
see
people
that.
they just treat it. I mean, it's just a job, like, and they just leave. Like Liam Cohen, he's now at Tampa. He did that to Kentucky.
yeah.
He came back. He promised another year, and then he got the OC job in Tampa. He was gone.
See
Like,
ya.
it is a job to most of these guys, so it's actually really cool to see people
Yeah.
actually have a heart, have a feeling like, hey, we need to finish this off right now.
I would agree.
And I think that's really cool.
I agree.
It says a lot
I
about
agree.
the
and
says a lot about
it's
the
why
person.
I think the Lions are very.
It says a lot about Detroit's culture. I
Yeah.
would say people don't want to leave that.
Yeah,
people
that's cool.
Want
That's a
to
really cool
go
thing
to
that you
it.
built.
Yeah,
I wish. I mean, people should be looking at places like Detroit and Kansas City and Baltimore and like how to build a
Yeah.
team.
What
not
did they
just-
do that we can reciprocate?
Not like
to
what
make-
Chicago's doing, where you take all different angles to try and form some kind of
The Jets,
successful
too.
season. Yeah, the Jets.
The Jets did the
You're
same thing.
taking all these guys from different places. You're not building a unit.
There's no culture.
You've got young guys mixed with old guys that are on two different pages and want different things.
Yep.
Some people are expected to win now, and other people are looking to develop.
Yeah.
And it's just not. No, it's we're
agree.
seeing it over half the league. I think is in a position like that, and then you've got the rest.
I agree, and that's again what separates all the great teams.
It's a
from
huge drop off too.
Yeah.
It's a huge drop off between like the top 4 or 5 teams, and then there's everyone else.
It's also why I know we've mentioned it, but it's why a lot of these teams I think get scared and pay these quarterbacks the type of money they are. The Jaguars. I don't think Trevor's terrible, but do you think he's worth all the money he's getting? Probably not. Even I would say Jordan Love this year. I know he's been hurt, and I know he's kind of been dealing with that, but do you think Jordan Love really deserved that contract?
The only
that
one
he
who's
got?
earning his money right now is Burrow,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's like the only one out of the top, like highest paid
isn't,
quarterbacks
like,
that's
performing
actually
to their
playing
record.
up to
Right.
it. Lamar too. Lamar, Burrow, and Josh Allen are the only 3 that are getting anywhere near to their
I'd say
money's worth.
Mahomes too.
Well, he's being underpaid in my opinion. That he signed that contract like 4 years ago. So at this point, he's not even in the top 10 of highest paid QBs. I don't think.
Which again is what like Tom Brady
That's
did
the
to
method.
win.
That is the method.
That
That's
is
the
how
method.
you have
Yeah.
to do it.
Yep.
I mean, this
That's
is
how you have to do.
It's how you have to, or else you're not gonna. Even the Cowboys. I mentioned it. The Cowboys
60.
are going to have
Still have to pay Micah.
like 49% or 47% of their cap is going to be covered by 2 players.
You can't do
How
that.
do you?
You have
and
like
then
what? You've got like 52 other players to pay after that.
so it's just it's not a
crazy.
winning formula, and even the whole. I know we have it here. Let's talk about it now. The whole Trey Lance thing. Why is Trey Lance not playing? You traded a 4th-round pick. This is exactly what they did with Mingo, and how people are saying, no, he's an unproven. He still has 2 more years on his rookie deal.
Why isn't he
freaking whoop.
proving himself?
He's not. He didn't
He's
prove
not on the
himself.
field.
He was drafted in the first round or early second round.
Trey Lance or
No, Mingo.
Oh, Mingo, yeah, second round.
So you trade him for that. You get 2 years out of him, and then you have to make a decision to either pay him or let him walk. Say you take that 4th round pick. You pick a receiver, you get 4 years out of that. So it's the same thing they did with Trey Lance. You traded Trey Lance for a 4th round pick, and he's not even like playing. He came into the game last week because they were getting killed, and they were like, "Screw it, just put him in."
It makes no sense. Like if you're, the season's already over for you guys. You know you're not making the playoffs. Your division, even if you had a chance in the NFC as a whole, your division's too good, and so it's wild. You traded a 4th round pick.
Like, see what you got with him.
You have these games are made for, like, you know, when a team is already out of it, play your guys. Let's see what you have. And you're not like, I don't save it with we played him in preseason. That's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
He could be getting so many important reps in a season that already has low expectations. So it's not like it would kill his confidence to go out there and try to play his best.
No.
Regardless of what ends up happening. The Cowboys in general, just so many question marks.
And again, with that, you traded a 4th round pick for a guy who has a couple years left on his deal, who after that you're going to have to make a decision on. So it just doesn't make sense to me why you're just handing out some of these picks when they're going to be very, very important. When I mentioned you're paying 2 guys, you still have to pay Parsons. I mean, you're going to have 3 guys who probably make up 50-60% of your cap. That is not a winning formula.
No.
Not at all.
And if you are going to do that, you have to draft and use these guys on their rookie deals or their very, very average below, minimum deals.
Yep.
And score on all of them.
Yep.
And if you don't, you're screwed.
And that's hard to do.
It's very hard to, almost impossible probably to do.
Yeah.
So let's go back though. The Dolphins-Rams game.
Such a good game.
It was a very good game.
Dolphins
a lot of field
defense
goals.
played their best game of the year.
They did.
by far.
The Rams played very bad. They weren't able to run the ball.
They had pretty much everyone on offense. They were missing like maybe 1 or 2 offensive linemen, but everyone was there for the most part on defense, offense. They just couldn't get it done.
Tua though.
Tua is determined.
that
Like
tackle.
he wants to be concussed. I think it's like one of those weird things where it's like, you know, when one thing happens to you and all of a sudden it's in the back of your mind and it's like it's there and you're just thinking about
It's like the devil on the angel on your shoulder.
It's like dive headfirst into this tackle. It's crazy.
And he came. You know what's funny too is
doing?
as I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, that's gonna get on social media."
know, he threw the
Chris
pick.
texted me like not even a second. He goes, "What a dumbass! Like, why would he do that? He's throwing his head at kneecaps. What are we doing?"
I saw that he threw the pick, and I was just sitting there watching the screen. I was like, I wonder if Tua's going to be the one to make this tackle. And then, lo and behold, the second that he goes into the frame, it's just his head down.
And he got kneed in the back of the
he got
head
kneed
too.
right
He
in the
wants
head.
he wants a NIL deal with CTESPN.
There you go. That's his career after football.
CTESPN.
He's headed to be
Can he
CTESPN's new
please,
founder.
like seriously, can he please just put the helmet cap on?
He's not going.
Oh,
to.
That
he
would make
won't.
me feel so much better.
That would admit.
I would
that would,
play
that
with
would
that.
admit that he was wrong.
Yeah, that would-
He didn't
You got to
like
put the
do
helmet
that.
cap on. Like I think everybody should wear. I'm like unpopular take.
Oh, I agree.
Every single person on that field make the game safer, for sure.
Well,
Because right now you have moms that they're coming in. They don't want their kids to play football because they see all these crazy injuries.
Yeah, they're seeing these
Put the helmet
pro
cap on.
athletes diving headfirst and then
Yeah.
seizing on the field.
When football
that's
can
a great
do
image.
football can do amazing things for you as just a person,
Yep.
and I know we hear that countless. I mean, for me, I know you play, but even sports in general.
just-
but
well,
football, I think Tom Brady talked about it too. I know I always go back to stuff he says, but he was saying football is so great because it's hard. It you
It
know
teaches you life lessons.
It really does. Like when your friends are sleeping in playing video games, you have to get up the next morning to go condition.
Yep.
In high school, I remember those days of I wish I could go to the pool. I wish I could go on a beach
gotta go
vacation during
run
the
these
summer.
sprints all
I have to
summer.
go to freaking football practice and run sprints during the summer.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of, but it does suck, like you said. With the way social media is, these parents don't want their kids in football because it's such a violent game. And yes, it will never change no matter how many rules you change. But there are ways to, I think, help that, like you said, with the
caps
Guardian
on.
cap.
Put the caps on.
Moving on to some other.
this
swim
NFL
team out there.
This one, hold on, let me hit it with the Bears.
This is like covering multiple bullet holes with Band-Aids. This is doing nothing for us in the long run.
Should we sing
This
the Morgan
is-
Wallen song?
yes, I'm happy he's gone, but I can hear Chris laughing at me in the background. This is not funny, Chris. This is painful. Okay, we are stuck in a cycle, and this happening just proved the fact that we are stuck in a cycle. We are, I would say, about 75% there to repeating the cycle. We have already gotten past the drafting a rookie quarterback with a head coach that's on the hot seat. And now the next step was letting that head coach that's already on the hot seat, who is defensive minded, bring in an offensive guy, telling him to not, play conservative. We've seen this over the last 3 years, regardless if it was Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, that all three years, I think 22, 23, and this year, our quarterback has the highest sack rate.
Yeah, you sent this in
highest sack rate.
last night.
I sent it into our group chat.
This morning.
Sounds like UK.
I know.
Sounds like a pattern to me. And you want to know the common denominator between all of that is Matt Eberflus. And it's ridiculous that we allowed him to stay and are currently on track to ruin another promising prospect. It sucks because I think the guy that we filled in for Shane Waldron, our offensive coordinator, it was Thomas Brown.
The passing coordinator.
Yeah, he was the passing game coordinator who Caleb had said he had not had many conversations with him leading up to this week.
No sense.
Which makes great job, guys.
Winning formula.
This is oh my god.
But whose fault is
My
that though?
team-
Is that the
it's the head
coach's
coach.
fault or
It's
is
the head
that
coach.
Caleb Williams' fault?
That's the head coach. You can't, especially a rookie.
mean,
there's no reason
something-
that the system shouldn't have meetings in place with the offensive coordinator and passing game coordinator
That's
every single week.
Well.
And I don't think it should be up to Caleb to go to them and be like, "Hey, you think this guy is an important person to be talking to every week?" Like that should already be something that they're telling him is needed.
Yeah.
Like it's just the Bears are all over the place. They're a
Well,
dumpster fire.
Now you're going into the part of the schedule to where
We're not going to win another game. Like we were 4-2. We're going to finish 4-13.
I mean, you got what, the Lions,
That's crazy.
the Vikings.
That is so crazy.
We play everyone in our division twice. We've got the Lions, Vikings, and Packers, and then we have the Seahawks and 49ers. Those are our
Yeah.
last 8 games.
Yeah, you guys might not
tough.
win another game.
We're not winning another game.
you can
The
go-
only one is maybe the
Paint
Seahawks.
his nails.
That's it. And that it just sucks because I have no confidence that this is going to get corrected. I think Caleb is already being set back. He's regressing. He's being told to play out of his element. And
So do you think they should bench him for the rest of the year? Or do you think they just
Like
they,
save
I
him?
don't see
or
how that
kind of like
helps.
with the whole Trey Lance thing, you just got to let him play. Just let him play.
I don't know. It just because he already has an offense in his head. Now he's going to have to learn an entirely new one, or at least a somewhat different system, and then he's going to have to do it all over again next year. So I don't even know if benching him versus playing him, I don't think it matters. I think this year is a waste, which is what has happened with our other rookie quarterbacks and what I was trying to avoid. And we're right back here at square one. And so next year you can expect the Bears to make all of these moves. Maybe they finally invest in the O-line, but treat next year like Caleb's rookie year, and he'll probably have some of the same struggles. Or if we actually make the right moves, it'll look like how it was supposed to this year.
Yeah.
But again, I have no faith that is going to
We
happen.
have no clue.
No clue, and I have zero faith that our ownership is going to do anything but the right thing. It sucks.
So the other quarterback controversy that's going on.
Anthony Richardson's back from the dead.
Well,
again.
the Colts came out and said, nope, he's done for the year. This is who we're going with.
Flacco's, yeah.
And now they come back and say Anthony Richardson is going to be the starter. I don't know. I mean, the way he handled that whole situation of why I think he probably got benched in the first place with taking himself out of the game and just not playing very good either. Like, he wasn't playing good at
Right.
all. I mean, I get it at this point. It's like, what are we going to lose? We got Joe Flacco or the 20 or 21-year-old who's just going to just throw him out there, let him play, let him learn. We're probably not going to go to the playoffs, even though I do think they have a pretty good team.
Yeah.
If I was a player, though, on that team, I know some of the players came out and said it when it all happened, like, yeah, we don't do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there were probably some conversations within that locker room going, look, we get it, you're young. This isn't college football anymore, though.
For sure.
Like, we need you. You're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to do this. I don't know if I would do this, though. If it was my team, if I was the coach, I'd probably, if I said that and I wanted to make a statement to not only, the team, but to Anthony Richardson and go, hey, this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
I'm not putting him back in. So
But I still am very confused what Anthony Richardson ever did in college.
he didn't.
He
He played
he was
he
drafted
didn't-
based
he
off of
didn't-
his raw talent.
Yeah,
and
based
the
off of what he
mold
could
that
be.
yes.
It was
And
kinda
I think
similar
if
to
you
Josh
draft a
Allen.
guy like that, you draft a guy all based on what he could be. That's really
You're
tough.
gonna get
That's how you're
misses.
supposed to recruit. You're supposed to recruit like that in college. Kind of draft people or recruit people based on what they could be, and then they flourish. Especially like your 3 stars. Whatever.
Well, I think it
But
kind of
you
created a
can't do
narrative
that whenever
almost.
it's a full time.
Like remember with Josh Allen, kind of like he was drafted like
Yeah.
that, and I think because Josh Allen
it's like a method.
turned into the guy, like the Bills were kind of like, oh my god, like he actually is what
Yeah.
we were hoping. Now every team wants
Everybody
that.
wants to
And
play
so
their-
yeah, now
play
it's in
their
the back
bingo
of
on
other
that,
teams'
yeah.
head where they're like, okay, but this guy hasn't done anything yet. Maybe we can be the team to unlock that with him.
Right.
Which not to say that Anthony Richardson can't be that in the future, but I think we said it a few weeks ago. I don't think he should have left college. Like I really don't. I think that he 100% could have benefited from more snaps, more experience because, like you said, this is his second year and he's still the youngest quarterback in the league. And yeah, he just came out way too early, and it sucks. But I hope that moving on this season, I hope that he's able to at least get a little bit more experience because the Colts aren't out of the playoffs. I think they're right in the middle of it.
And they have a good team.
And the Texans
too.
are hurt, so technically the AFC South is wide open for them. I mean, not as wide open because they lost to them twice.
Yeah.
So you would have to realistically finish with a better record than them. But wild card is still very much in play.
Yeah.
And then another quarterback. This isn't confirmed. This could very well be not the case, but we saw this happen last year with Russell Wilson. Apparently the Giants are looking at sitting Daniel Jones for the rest of the season because they're done with him. And there is a clause in his contract that guarantees more money if he gets injured at all and isn't able to finish out the year for next year. And so in order, kind of similar, that was kind of how Russ's contract was structured in Denver. And so do y'all really think that happens? I think New York is taking a quarterback regardless, but do you think they really sit him for the rest of the year?
I mean,
Just tell Drew Lock to go out there?
I don't think it's crazy to say it won't happen just because it did. We saw the same scenario play out in Denver.
Denver, yeah.
I would say, at this point, it's like, well, we've got nothing to lose. Just finish the season. If you get hurt, that's on you. But we're done with you after. I mean, if I was him, I would go to him and be like, look, this is what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. You can either sit, not get hurt, and just kind of keep it hush-hush, not like this big old thing, kind of how Russell Wilson made it out to be, and we'll move on from you. You can go to a new team and, test the market.
Well, do you think there's a market for Daniel Jones? Kind of similar to what the Steelers did with Russ. The Steelers are only on the hook for like $1 million of Russ's contract, and Denver took care of the rest of it, and Daniel Jones is on a hefty contract.
I think
so. In order for a team to actually take him, because I don't think they can't cut him, they would lose a ton, or they would take a big cap hit if they were to cut him. So I think they have to trade him.
Yeah, I would say, if I was like Oakland, if I was Las Vegas, if I was maybe
Tennessee,
the Panthers, Tennessee, I'd say there are a couple teams
I can
out
see
there
those few teams
that would just be like, hey, like he has shown flashes. We don't have anything, so let's give it a try. So
and get him for cheap.
Yeah, and get him for
you
cheap.
get
The same
really
way they did with
cheap.
Russell Wilson, and how it was kind of like a rental. And if he ended up playing like crap, you spent $1 million on him.
Yeah.
So
Steelers
it
are
didn't work
paying
out.
what? Like they're paying like $2 or $3 million
Yeah,
for the two
for
quarterbacks
Russ.
that have won so many games.
Again,
together.
shows to
Like
the
8-2.
master class of
Been to
coaching
Super Bowl.
and management.
One Super Bowl.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I probably would, and I'd give him two options. Say you could play it out, and no matter what, you're done, or you could sit, not get hurt, and then just go. You're gone either way. So it's really up to you.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. Now, of course, you can't. That would suck for the rest of the players on the team who are, obviously some of those guys want to play good, want to continue a good year. Whether that's like I know the one D lineman is having a really good year, so I'm sure he's still.
Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence
Yeah.
is playing for Pro Bowls, for All Pros,
He's
for
playing
stuff
for
like
Defensive
that.
Player of the Year.
Yeah, so if you have some of those guys who who are like, well, what do you mean? Like, we want the best quarterback to play. I don't care what's in his clause. Like, I still have a lot to play for, whether that's making this team next year or putting film to go sign to a new team. So you don't want that to happen. So I don't know. It's a hard, weird situation that I think they're in.
It's going to be another interesting offseason, that's for sure. But I want to go back something that happened college football wise.
Yes.
Georgia Tech got, a major upset. And
Yes,
your little brother was fortunate enough.
He was.
We actually have a clip of it.
We do, and we'll play it right now.
Let's go! Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Yeah! Let's go! Fuck yeah! Let's go! Let's go!
And yeah, so he literally was.
so funny.
He told us that they went down. They were about to knee it out, and he went all the way down to the front row, and the security guard was there, and the security guard was like, "Hey, are you guys seniors?" And they were like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, well, have fun. I'm not going to stop you."
That's so crazy.
And so
They're not seniors, by the way.
No, they are. They are.
Okay, well, okay.
Not
there
seniors
is-
at Georgia
Not
Tech.
at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, not
so
at-
his
not at
friend that he
Georgia
got the
Tech.
tickets from, he goes there, but my brother Jake, he goes to Kennesaw State, but he was just there. So they're on the field going crazy. He said they he was there with two of his buddies. They lost each other on the field, and then they ripped two of his friends were two hanging on the goalpost to break it. And so there's a video of them literally carrying it to, I don't have that video, but they were carrying it back to their frat house and put it in the rafters of their frat house. Yeah. And it's like, that's going to be there forever now.
Well,
Like,
a lot of times they'll cut up the goalpost.
Yeah.
And then they'll sell a piece of the goalpost.
But they
I
have the whole thing.
I know Vanderbilt did that. They had the whole. They
Like
got
flag
the
on
goalpost
the
out
thing.
of the river, take the goalpost, get out of the river, and then cut it up.
Yeah.
I think field storming is so sacred. I love it.
It's
I
got a
think it's
little
funny.
bit kind of special this past year
because you have people
everyone's
that storm
doing
it just for no reason.
But yes, that was pretty cool to see that video and then to see it getting put up in their rafters and stuff like that. So let's get into week 11. Let's run through some of these games.
good week of
Another good week tonight. I think one of my favorite games of the week, Commanders Eagles. We are picking this game. I'm going with the Eagles. They're at home, short week. I would say the Eagles didn't play the toughest game. The Commanders had a pretty tough game against the Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Eagles at home on Thursday night. I think it's going to be a great game, though. Two very playoff-ready teams at the end of the year. This will determine, like we said, the division winner and whoever gets the wild card. I'm going to go with the Eagles, though.
Yeah, I'm Eagles too. I think it was hard to pick against the Commanders. The only reason I'm taking the Eagles is because it's Thursday night and Philly's at home. But the next time they play, I think it's towards the end of the season. I don't remember if this one's also prime time. Could be a different story.
Should be.
But
They should move it on prime time if it ends up being the division winner, whoever wins it.
Not sure if Lattimore plays tonight. I don't think it matters because the Eagles' defense has been playing incredible, and I don't think the Commanders have enough at receiver to put enough pressure on the secondary. But the Eagles' secondary has been playing lights out the last few weeks.
They're rookies that they drafted and been playing very good.
So McLaurin will get his numbers. I'm worried about everyone else. I think their running backs are banged up too. Eagles have a good D-line. I think it's a good game. I think it's a high-scoring game. But yeah, I think Eagles walk away with this one. What about you, Vanny?
Game should be super close. It's tough to pick against the Commanders as well. But the Eagles, they're coming alive. They've been playing some really good football as of late. So I got the Eagles by like 3.
Yeah.
Eagles in a tight game.
Yeah, I could see it.
It's going to be good.
Next one, Colts Jets. This one's gonna probably suck. Jets suck.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson hasn't played very good. I mean, at this point, you're kind of just playing, like we said, some of these teams for whether they're going to go to a new team next year or whatever the case may be.
What do you think the future of Aaron Rodgers looks like?
He said he's committed to coming back, apparently, but I don't know if the Jets are committed to him coming back.
He'll probably come back one more year and just say, hey, we got Devontae Adams. They'll probably re-sign him on a one-year deal. You still got Garrett Wilson. You still got some of the... Try to do something and have a... He'll probably have a hand in who they hire as the coach.
Fixed.
Get the defense. I don't know what's wrong with the defense. Mace. That's kind of what it's been going on.
I'm telling you what.
The LeBron effect.
But I think he's back for at least one more year. And if next year goes the way that the past 2 years have kind of gone, then I think he calls it quits.
Done.
So
yeah, I think next one, Packers at Bears. I wish I could get more excited about this, but I want the Packers to blow us out. Like I'm to the point where I want the Packers. I want the Bears to lose the rest of these games because I don't want there to be an ounce of doubt that we fire our head coach at the end of the year because he deserves it.
To happen,
we need it.
Well, division rival getting smacked by the
at home.
The
this
Packers
would be at home.
Do you think there's a
used
chance that he would get fired in the season?
No. The Bears have never
They've never fired a
There's
coach
a
during the
better
season?
chance that the Bears bring him back for next year because I found out a few weeks ago that the reason that his contract wasn't disclosed is because he actually signed a 5-year deal, not a 4-year deal, and this is year 3.
We got another
he
year
actually
of Eberflus. Let's
the
go.
Bears are cheap. The Bears do not
Build
like
the statue.
the Bears do not like dead money. We have seen them time and time again when they could cut loose with a guy, they keep him until his contract is gone.
I'm hearing a 5th year.
Yep.
Well, it would be year 4.
I'm hearing a 4th. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I would be done rooting for the Bears.
Build the statue. Build a dome over Soldier Field. Call it a day. Bring back that coach. Keep bringing him back. See what you can do.
I think
we
that's
are
what they
such
should do, too.
losers.
Yeah.
Actually, share a home with the White Sox. There you go.
I don't.
Build a dual
I saw,
stadium.
You guys can
very
suck all
very
together.
funny meme on Instagram yesterday. I think I sent it in the group chat of the scene from Interstellar when he's looking at the past version of himself make a huge mistake. No spoilers if you haven't seen Interstellar, but the caption was me watching myself being born into White Sox and Bears fandom, just sitting there tapping on the green. No, don't do it. No. This is
funny.
God. Why me? Why me?
Next one, my Patriots are at home against the Rams.
This is gonna be a good game.
Rams
I think this is gonna be a
played
really good
bad
game.
against the Dolphins, but they have a good team. They're getting healthy. Their offense is getting healthy with all their weapons back. I really don't know. Drake May's been playing good. He's had like 80% of all their yards, so that kind of says everything you need to know
Drake
about.
May is looking good, man.
I think
we didn't talk about it, but the game last week looked pretty good
it's
against the
a
Bears.
Josh Allen-esque type of play style he has, which I knew when we drafted him. Not saying that he is and not comparing him to him. But yeah, the way he runs the ball, the way he kind of gets out of the pocket, kind of the weird throws. Is a Josh Allen. He does. He does.
He's got a rocket.
He's got a rocket.
So you give him some pieces, and you saw in there were a couple times against the Bears where he had to quickly march down the field to get a field goal before the time ran out, before the quarter ran out, or before the half ran out. So it's stuff like that I'm happy to see that those little details are starting to click for a team that I don't think is very good right now. So that's been fun to see. But yes, Josh Allen-esque type play. It has made. I saw someone too. Cam Newton was talking about it, of when he was played for the Panthers when the Panthers sucked, and he was saying how you have to give these people hope. Because I even asked. I think I asked Dad. I was like, we were watching a game, and it was like, how do you your team sucks? Why do you still go or watch? Like, why do you spend $200, $300, $400? Or to go to the game or to even just buy merch or buy a jersey or stuff like that. And Cam Newton, I think, summed it up perfectly to where if you have one guy that gives you a belief of no, that's why I'm going to watch. If he does, and that is, I think, what Drake May is kind of doing. At least
seeing
for
it with
me,
Jaden Daniels.
You're seeing it with all these teams where
that's cool.
and that's what makes football so special. And that answered my question of. That's why people watch. That's why people pay attention, because you get a sliver of hope of, oh no, that was really good. That's what we want. So that is kind of where I'm at with the Patriots. I don't think our head coach is the right choice. I don't think our defense is very good. But Drake May has given me a sliver of hope, and that is what has helped me watch some of these games.
That's cool.
There you go. You got more hope than I do right now.
Next one, Ravens Steelers.
This would be the game of the week if we
That's
didn't
a
have
huge game.
another game.
I
that we're
wish
gonna be
we
talking
kind
about
of
later.
start.
That's a huge game.
Huge game. Huge.
My question is, why the hell can't we flex more of these into prime time?
Yeah.
Like, what the Bills Chiefs should be the Sunday night game, and the Monday night game should be this.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Why are we getting Ravens Steelers at 1:00?
Yeah.
I want to watch this game alone, like on its own. This game's gonna be so good.
I would even say the Bengals and the Chargers being on.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
But this, I mean, like you said, this game is going to live up to.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I would be terrified to pick this game if it was prime time. Like,
I mean, and it's at Steelers
Pittsburgh.
in Pittsburgh. This is a huge test for Lamar, though.
both teams.
Both teams, it's a huge test. We're going to get to see Russell Wilson go up against a really, really solid team. And the same thing for Lamar Jackson. It'll be a battle.
Yeah.
It will be a battle.
You learn a lot about both of these teams based on how
Yeah.
this game plays. And
it has
honestly,
a lot
I think
And this is the first time they played.
It has
They
a
still
lot for
play
the
again?
division.
Yep.
A lot for the division.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
because they still
oh,
have
yeah.
they still have to play another time after
Yes.
this, and this time it'll be at Baltimore.
If the Steelers somehow win this division,
You know they will.
I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, there's always. But if they beat the Ravens and then
Mike
say
T.
Well, they finished the
Coach-
year like
Coach of the year.
15-2.
Seriously.
Coach of the year,
Coach of the year if he's
if
able
they
to
win the division,
Yes.
Coach of the year
Coach of
with
the
some
year,
of the
yes.
decisions
It would
that he has
be-
made and all that.
It would have to be between him, Andy Reid,
Eberflus?
and Jim Harbaugh.
That's who he picked at the beginning of the year.
yeah.
Did I tell you that?
I actually picked him to be coach of the year, but no, I think Jim Harbaugh's in the discussion as well.
Yeah, the Chargers. He's pulled the Chargers, and I would say if the Falcons can really, because I know the
Yeah,
Falcons
that
have a good stretch of they
Or
play.
the Bucks coach.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
deserves
coaches
a
out
lot
there,
of
but I
credit.
would say if the Steelers somehow win their division, he's my vote for that.
Yeah.
So next one, Seahawks 49ers. This is
big
a
game.
big one for the 49ers with it being a division.
finally,
they've
like-
already lost. Didn't they lost to the Seahawks? Did they not? Or they've lost to the Rams and they've lost one
Cardinals.
other, the Cardinals.
I don't think they've.
They haven't, so they probably haven't
think
played
they've
yet.
played the
This is a
Seahawks
big
yet.
one just for division purposes for the 49ers. They need this one.
Yes.
They've
And
got to win
you
this
got
one at
CMC
home.
coming back
You got
again.
You've got all your weapons. George Kittle's playing good. Debo's playing good.
Pearsall's come into
he's
his
playing
own. He's
after-
taken over the Ayuk role a little bit.
he has.
So you've got to win this game. The Seahawks are also, I mean, they're very good. They've got a lot of guys to throw the ball to. Their defense is young. Their defensive line is, I think, a lot better than what people give them credit for.
Yep.
So the 49ers need to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
Falcons, Broncos. Falcons are playing a pissed off Broncos team. This could be two
think
trap
the
games
Broncos
in a
win this
row
game.
for the Falcons.
I really think the Broncos win this game.
I would be leaning towards the Broncos just because of how that game ended last week.
They're 2.5 point favorites going in. So
Well, they
Yeah,
are.
we'll see.
They're the home team. The home team, I
Yeah.
think, always
In
gets
Denver.
in Denver.
Always
I
gets a
think
little
Bo
bit
Nix
extra.
is playing a lot better than people thought he was.
He was
And-
the rookie of the month last month.
And out of all the rookie quarterbacks right now, besides probably Jaden Daniels, I think Bo Nix is playing the best out of not having a ton on that offense to
Yeah.
really go with.
Yeah.
So what Bo Nix is doing is speaks to him and the type of player he is. But if we were picking this game, I think I would go with the Broncos.
I would too. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I think this is going to be pretty low scoring.
Yeah.
Denver's got a great defense,
Yeah.
and I don't think Denver has necessarily a great offense to be putting up points, and the Falcons have a good secondary. So
I could see it
kinda
being
levels
like
out.
23-20, kind of similar
Maybe
to
even less
what-
than that.
Yeah, like
maybe like 17-14,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But this next one, I can't wait.
This is
I
gonna be a good
think
one.
America is rooting for the Bills. it's at
true.
Buffalo.
At Buffalo.
This is not going to be an easy game for the Chiefs.
No.
If they win this game, if the Chiefs win this game, I think they might be my Super Bowl favorite.
I think they're
serious.
definitely probably my Super Bowl favorite out of the AFC. The Ravens are, if the Ravens beat the Steelers and then the Chiefs lose to the Bills, I've got the Ravens as my top one right now.
Maybe.
But
Yeah.
the Chiefs, I mean, like we've said, we're running out of things to say about them. The Bills have got.
Literally.
You've got at Josh Allen though. You've got to. You have to come out and beat Mahomes finally.
You got to take it
He's
because
done it
Mahomes
once
hasn't been
before.
playing anything
No,
too
he's not.
crazy.
No.
So
It's been their defense.
if you beat Mahomes in a battle,
You have to. You haven't been
you
able
can-
to.
You can win that.
In a while. The
Yeah.
only time he did it was. Has he beaten Mahomes?
I honestly don't think he has, or at least in the playoffs, he has not.
I think he's beaten him once in the regular season.
But
Might be
at
getting
Josh
that wrong.
Allen, you have to, and not do too much. Don't throw interceptions.
Nope.
Play how you've been playing the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
You're at home. You're playing a Chiefs team who almost should have lost to the Broncos. And like we said, the Broncos are good, but they're not some spectacular offensive, minded team. They have a rookie quarterback. So you've got to win this as the Bills. At home against a Mahomes that is down, like we've said. You have to. And also just for us fans, because I don't think any of us want to see an undefeated Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
No.
I don't want to see that.
That would hurt the soul a little bit.
It would a little bit. Me being a Patriots fan, that would suck to see them be the first undefeated team to win a Super Bowl.
And it would just give people like another reason to pick Mahomes over Tom Brady. Which
yeah.
I
And to
appreciate
me, that would probably put it
it'd put it really close. It'd be really close.
It still is pretty
the only
close.
thing that I would want to see out of Mahomes is can you go to another team
and do
away
it.
from Andy Reid and be able to prove that
Your
you can
first
win there.
year.
Yeah,
Well,
in
we're-
your first.
We're
yeah.
kind of seeing though the numbers drop a little bit with with a lot of these guys that he's used to having not on the team anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When Tyreek Hill left, dropped a little bit. And then, they got Rice, and I know Kelsey is still there, but the numbers have not been as spectacular, but he's still finding a way to win, the same way Tom Brady did with all the years that he did. So, yes, he is a special, special talent, but Bills, I'm a Bills fan this weekend. So, Sunday Night Football, we are picking this one, Bengals, Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers. They're at home. Yeah. Their Chargers are playing really good right now. They're coached very well. I think Jim Harbaugh is really, really, like we said, putting his name in the Coach of the Year conversation. Justin Herbert, I think, is playing confident, not playing like he has to do everything, kind of how he did years past. I really like the Chargers. The run game is great with their two running backs they have, and the Bengals just... They disappoint me week in and week out, so I'm going with the Chargers.
Against my better judgment, I'm taking the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to play as if they should have won last Thursday, and I think it shows up this week. I think I don't think they make the playoffs still, but I mean their season's over if they lose this game because they've got a tough schedule ahead. So this is a game you can't lose. You couldn't lose last week, so you really can't lose this one. And Joe Burrow's playing MVP type football. Jamar Chase is unstoppable, but the Chargers have I think they still have the number one scoring defense. Crazy. It's not something that I thought was going to happen at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I think the Bengals barely win this game. Barely. Just because the Chargers, LA in general is not, LA doesn't have many home games.
Yeah.
LA is a lot of transplants. And so you see, I'm sure it'll be at least, close to 50-50 for the stadium. So I don't think, But I think it's a good game. I think it's a good game regardless. But what about you, Vanny?
I think I would have liked to be allowed to get back into the city whenever I go home on Sunday. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals. It is it's do or die. They have to win this one, just because. Yeah, I mean, if you lose another, your back's against the wall. It's do or die right now.
To 4-7.
And you waste another. You're wasting a Burrow season that's truly special.
Yeah.
They need to win. So hopefully the boys will come together and they'll win one. So, but yeah.
They got to play perfect.
Rock
for
with the
rest of
hometown
season.
team for sure.
Last one, Texans, Cowboys, Monday Night Football. This is a joke. Cowboys are terrible.
Bad.
And Texans.
Yeah, Texans.
Texans are winning
Me
this
too.
one.
What about you?
This one's a hard
Texans.
one.
Yeah, you
that's-
can't.
Terribly
I'd be
hard
shocked
game.
if Dallas somehow
Yeah, I would
somehow
too.
was able to win. But
They're
yeah,
gonna win this game by like 30.
Dallas is a joke of a franchise.
So
Like a joke of a franchise.
I completely.
Yep.
And they got
completely
and
agree.
it makes me happy because
It makes everyone.
because
Do we
Jerry
think-
Jones
do we think
he's
they're-
an Arkansas fan and he was trying to outbid Kentucky in guys for basketball. So it just makes me happy.
You think they're gonna draft? You think they're gonna draft Janty?
I hope they do.
They're gonna have a high enough
It's not
pick.
going to do anything.
I don't think that's gonna do anything for you because you lose these games and you're down so bad that like a running back's not gonna do anything for you.
Well, I mean that's arguably their weakest part of the offense.
I agree.
But their offensive line isn't.
Yeah,
great
it's just
anymore.
it's different in the league though. Like he can run all over these defenses in the Mountain West. Like I mean, it's easy. You can't do that in the NFL.
We shall see.
We shall
I think
see.
that's gonna be
Whatever they do, they're going to mess it up.
Yep.
So
that I do.
That
have
is
faith
a
in.
guarantee.
That I have faith.
So the bet of the week, we've got 3 of them this week because Vanny is on our graphic. He has his. My bet of the week, I've got Josh Allen over 35.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to have to not play Superman, but he's going to have to play good in this game. I think Coleman is out as well.
They're not going to. He's another reason this is good for his rushing yards is the Chiefs have an amazing rushing defense.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're a good defense in general, but I don't think you're going to get much out of the ground game with James Cook. Yeah. So I think most of those rushing yards are going to have to come from him.
Scrambling around out of the pocket. So when I saw this, I think it should be around 45 to 50 if I was setting it. Mm-hmm. So I really like Josh Allen over rushing yards. Like I said, he's going to have to play a little bit of Superman. He's going to be running around. He's got to beat Mahomes and, at home against the guy who he's always going to be compared to. I like Josh Allen this week.
Nope. My bet of the week comes from a high-scoring game. It's someone who just came back from injury. He's been out all year. But McCaffrey, his line for receiving yards is 32.5. So give me that all day. He could get that in one play. And I think he's going to be used a bunch against Seattle this week. I think he's going to need to be. I mean, obviously Kittle, Ayuk, and Pearsall are all there. But now that he's back, I think he is their offense. Yeah. Everything revolves around him.
Yeah.
For sure. And then like I said before, the Commanders and Eagles, it's going to be a super close game. I think it's going to be a shootout in a way. I think it's going to go back and forth. So I got Jaden Daniels over 227.5 passing yards. I'm really impressed with that kid so far. He does not
good.
I've got all these rookie quarterbacks that I consider rookie quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels, I don't consider a rookie.
He doesn't look like a rookie at all.
He does not look like a rookie. He looks very solid. He's fundamentally sound. He's very
that
impressive.
VR training.
Very impressive.
That VR training.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that will do it. Thank you again, Vanny, for stopping by. We
thanks
really
for having
appreciate
me, guys.
it.
I appreciate it. It's always a good time.
Kentucky, I know we'll keep an eye out on them for you. It always.
We'll have you back on in like March when the tournament starts. Yep. Well, technically April, but
yeah, we'll try to plan something again.
If we win the thing,
you win the thing.
Streak naked.
I don't want to see that. So. But yes, no, thank you so much. If we missed anything for week 11 for storylines, what's your favorite game? Let us know. But yes, we will see you guys next time.
Follow us on social media.
Don't forget, follow us on social media.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yep, and we love all the comments. Keep them coming.
Yes, sir.
I know also, I did play college sports, so I think have a little idea what I'm talking about. Someone like to say that I don't know what it is to be on a team.
We know ball, man.
And not to say I know ball. I'm not gonna yes I do, but
no.
An
Stand on
elite
that. We
ball
know.
knower.
I did play 4
ball
years of college athletic sports, and that's my jersey right there, just in case any of you. There it is,
And the helmet.
I'd give you 5 seasons, 4 years though.
For what?
I'd give you 5 seasons, 4 years.
Yeah,
because you did get the little football thing in there too. So.
Yes, so
he was wide receiver 6.
I was a freshman.
You were right there, right?
I was right there.
You were
I made
there.
the travel team.
You made the travel team. You were there.
I did what I needed to do. So I
love it.
For the guy who said that, it's right there. No, you can look my name up too. I'm all over.
Watch the stats. Check the stats.
Go check the stats. I had some pretty good numbers. But anyway, yes, that will do it, and we will see you guys next time.
All right, it's been real, guys.
See you.